What is up, my Back to Life family? Today we are back with another podcast. The Back to Life podcast has not been up for about 4 or 5 months, and I got my girl, Kristen Cooper, here. Super good friend, one of my closest friends. We talk all the time. We try to uplift each other, and I'm just going to let her introduce herself, and from there we're going to get this thing rolling.
Hello, I am Kristen. I am an executive director with Beauty Counter. I also am a professional wedding photographer. I've been doing that for about 6 years. And yeah, we've known each other since we were...
Like
12,
14,
babies.
13, 14, 15. Going into high school, we met. Now I'm 20. Are you 26?
Yeah, I'm 26.
You're 26, I'm 26, so that's like 12 years.
Yeah, long time.
Yeah, 12 years we've known each other. We didn't start out being really good friends. And that's just the transparency we have. When we were in high school, she actually didn't like me as a person. Maybe not that deep, but we definitely had our differences, and we worked through those things. Certain situations put us into that type of situation. But what I love about our relationship, our friendship, is that we have put those things aside and we see the good in each other, and we uplift one another in business or with just mental health or physical health, like getting on each other about working out and stuff like that. So that's really cool. But the reason I wanted to bring you on the Back to Life podcast is because you are a woman and you are a boss of a woman. And I tell her that all the time. This is not something I'm just saying on the camera. She is a boss. Like, she kills it. She's aggressive. She knows what she wants 90% of the time. No one knows what they want 100% of the time. She knows what she wants. She goes and gets it. And she laughs because that's her way of saying thank you. That's her way of saying thank you, and when someone's telling her good things about herself. But I just want to know how you even got started, because there's a lot of people out there that probably follow you on Instagram, and make sure y'all go do that. I'll have her Instagram bio in the link. And there's a lot of people that follow you. They want to know how you got to where you are. You were doing photography, now you're doing Beauty Counter, you're an executive director. Like, you're doing so many cool stuff. You're always like lobbying for something on Facebook. I love reading your long posts. How, why, how did this all get started?
Okay, so I would say how I got started. That's a loaded question, but I would say it honestly did start probably in college. So went off to college, had the desires given to me by my parents.
Correct.
They're like, oh, there's no job security in becoming an artist. There's no job security in becoming a creator of content, right?
It wasn't cool back then.
No, it wasn't
honestly.
Cool. It wasn't cool.
Instagram just kind of came out, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I scrolled back and looked at my first Instagram post the other
day. I think
I
used one of those filters with like the black bar around.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
My content from 2012 was pretty rough. Yeah. But anyway, so I asked my mom, or I told my mom what I wanted to do, and she was just kind of like, there's no job security in that. So I just went on and I was like, well, I'll do something in the medical field. And then wasn't happy. And so I think throughout college, I just wanted to like find that thing that made sense to me. And it was photography. So that started, I guess, in 2014.
During college?
During college.
So I was a junior year. So you graduated college. You have a degree.
Yeah, I have a degree.
You have a degree.
I do.
You don't use your degree.
No.
So it is okay to go to college thinking that's what you're supposed to do, and then doing something different, just for everybody out there.
Yeah,
that is okay, correct?
Yeah, I grew a lot through college. I'm glad that I went. If I could circle back and still go, I still would go.
Right.
But I would say the biggest growth for me was like the interaction with different kinds of people. I think going away to college, being on my own, that was like a big win for me and just my like personal development and growth. But picking up that camera for the first time and kind of just like having fun on that side, not knowing that it would turn into something, was really the most surprising thing.
Like, what made you could have picked up 50 other things. What made you pick up a camera?
It was accidental. I think I knew
awesome.
that I wanted to do something entrepreneurial, even though my mom and my family said, maybe that's not the right move. I knew that that's something I still wanted to do. So anytime I had a little opportunity to do something creative, I was taking it. And
we're not bashing mom here. So mom, if you're watching this, you actually inspired her to become what she needed to be.
Well, I understand why she thought. I understand what
she's your mom.
saying. Yeah, she was like, well, and I can circle back and think about talking to my own child, and they're like, I want to go become an artist. I think I would have reservations.
You get nervous.
Yeah, you get nervous.
Like, how are you going to make money?
People you care about, you want them to like succeed, so I get it, you know. But But I mean, I was taking pictures of my cheerleading team that I was coaching, and
Mm-hmm.
like then it turned into, hey, will you take pictures for my daughter's 8th grade, whatever. And then I realized,
Right.
hey, I'm making more money doing this one little session than I am working a week at the sandwich shop that I'm working at part-time. So that's kind of how it started.
So that went from high school, you were like, I'm going to college, I'm doing this, kind of unhappy, pick up a camera randomly. Sometimes the best things come to us when we least expect it, so always remember that. Picked up a camera randomly, taking pictures of whatever, literally whatever, and then that turned into you becoming, in my opinion, one of the best wedding, elopement, relationship vibe pictures.
Yeah.
You were in a magazine, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
You've shot pictures for people with tons of followers.
Yeah.
And that's the crazy thing about everything to me, is that it's not how you start. Like, starting something is all about, you know, just someone encouraging you or someone inspiring you, and then you kind of jump into something. But what I love about your story is that it was so random. It was so like, I'm going to pick up a camera.
Yeah.
And then your friends are like, well, shoot, I want to pick up cameras now. Like, you know, because now you're that inspiration that somebody else needed. They didn't know they wanted to take pictures, and when they started, it's like, wow, like she really encouraged me to do that. So now tell me, you did all that. That's college, you graduated, became a really great photographer and a boss, and then you get into this beauty counter thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what beauty counter is. If I'm watching this, tell me what beauty counter is. Like, what is that?
Okay, so Beauty Counter is a safer beauty brand. It's a direct sales company, which I know for me, when I was growing up, that's something that made me feel uncomfortable because of the way people approached me about doing something like that. So I was always standoffish. But through my like entrepreneurial brain, I started researching and started listening to people that were smarter than me, like the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I read that book and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so inspired to add something new to my portfolio, because photography, it soothes my creative spirit, but I'm never gonna, like, I didn't want to stop there. Like, I wanted to add something else to that I could incorporate easily using social media. And so Beauty Counter was that thing that I had a heart connection with, because I'm like, oh my gosh, there's formaldehyde in my shampoo. Like, that's linked to leukemia. It's outlawed in other countries. And so for me, I was like, this is a no-brainer. Like,
but this is America.
Yeah.
We let everything slide.
Well, 33 banned ingredients compared to Europe at 1,500. Like, you can literally see, it's like staunch a problem, you know? So whenever I found that out, I just thought I'd dabble in it, do it on the side, make a little bit extra while I was trying to like build my rental property portfolio. I was like, I can spend this money, put that aside so I can purchase more properties. But I had no idea.
Don't forget that. We forgot that.
Okay.
So we went from college degree photographer to beauty counter, but there was rental properties in there. That's why she's a boss. We'll circle back.
Well,
right
it kind of blends into. It's not something that it's ever been a huge focus. It's just something that kind
it's
of
there.
Like,
I got you.
It's there.
And it kind of just fell into your lap.
Well,
I mean random. Like the photography camera. Just you're like, I might as well.
I think if your eyes are open though, and if you're actually looking for, like, if your eyes are open for opportunity, it doesn't just fall in your lap, but you're looking for it. So when you're walking along the road, you're paying attention to what's around you.
I'll tell you, I tell people this all the time, and I put in one of my songs, and these lyrics for me are like what push me, even when I feel like not shooting a video, not doing what I'm doing, not going to work, is I tell people I'm always grinding while I'm waiting on the right timing. Because it's easy to say, well, I'm waiting on the right timing, I'm praying about something, but no, it doesn't just fall.
No.
You got to grind and wait, quote unquote, for the right time. Because then to everybody else, it just happened. Oh, it happened. Like, no, it didn't just happen. I've been grinding every freaking day. And think about it like you're walking around, like, just like literally picture yourself walking down a trail, and you're just like walking, looping the trail, and you're like, gosh, is this going anywhere? And then you happen upon a waterfall, and you're like, oh, this is the thing. This is the reason I've been walking for the last year and a half, whatever it is. Maybe it's only a month and a half for you. Maybe it's a week. Maybe it's 2 years. Maybe it's 5 years. But like, you can find cool things along that route, and for me it was rental properties, for me it was photography, and there's always going to be like little wins, but that waterfall is still to come. Like, I'm not even close to that. So not to take away from beauty counter, because I heard rental property, like, oh shoot, boom. But to circle back to beauty counter, you're in charge, not in charge, you have a team of girls How many are in your network?
So we have a team of around 360 that I like help coach and mentor. And I would say our emphasis is on mental health and personal development, because that's something like I talked about even in college when I was going through my getting started with photography. Like, that's a priority. That's the number one priority. Because if your brain isn't right, how are you supposed to do anything and have fun? You know, it's about the fun. It's not about just like work.
So I want to know, with everything we just talked about, so you guys just heard it. She started out in college. In high school, she didn't like me. I'm just kidding. She didn't like me. No, I'm still salty.
You didn't like me either. We just didn't.
We bumped heads a little bit. It's because we didn't know how to communicate right yet. We had to mature so that we could uplift each other.
We didn't have our own identities yet, though, either. We were still like, we were figuring things out.
Okay, that's in the past. So got the degree. So it's everybody out there thinking, if you get a degree, you got to go work that job. 90% of the time, you will not be doing that job. Probably more than that, to be honest. Became a photographer, went crazy, got into real estate, still got rental properties, got in a beauty counter, killing it. Okay, I think that was 5. I lose count sometimes. But what about doing all of these things? Because I know what kind of person I am. People can call us wheelers and dealers. You can call us a squirrel because the next little nut, and you're like, and you run, right?
Squirrels are cute.
Yeah, squirrels are cute. But I don't know entrepreneur. I guess in the business world, that's what you'll call someone, an entrepreneur. And what about that do you feel like? Where do you find that feeling of good or satisfaction? Like, why is it that? Is it because you just like being in different things, or is it because you like being around different sets of people? Because once you get stuck on one, let's say you work for corporate Walmart or something, you're going to be around the same people every day, and that's just the way it is. Right? So is it that you're getting to meet with girls that are trying to get uplifted with beauty counter? Is it because you get to deal with tenants when you're doing your rentals? Is it because, and it's, even though it sucks, because you're like, I'd like to punch you in the face right now. But you get to problem solve. That's what I love. I don't look at life as there's no problems, there's challenges. And there's always a solution. It's just, does that solution work emotionally, spiritually, financially, physically? Like, is that problem going to turn into, is that challenge going to turn into a fixed situation or not? So what is it for you that makes you want to do all these different things? Because that's a lot of things. And you're only 26. You see what I'm saying? Some people have worked 40 years of their life at the same company and retire, and that's it. And that's okay for them. But why is it that you're already doing 6 things or 5 things only at the age of 26? And you're not going to stop there. I know that for a fact. No. And she laughs, but I'm serious.
No, I mean, I know. Yeah, I know I won't stop. But I think there's a combination of different things. That's like a heavy question. The first thing I would say is like, the freedom that you are in charge as an entrepreneur of your own successes and failures. And you will have failures. You're going to have major successes, little successes. But I know for me, it's like, I love being in charge of where I'm going. Like, there's nobody I have to answer. I don't have to prove my worth to somebody that's like above me, that's like, yeah, you can get promoted now. It's like, no, I know if I put in the work, the results, it's like a literally put in the work, results. And I mean, whether it's those results come in a year or tomorrow, it's happening. And I love that. It's like working out. It's like you put in the work, you get the results. And like, I think that we're such a culture, a generation of like, oh, I'm not happy with my physical appearance, let me take a pill instead of actually working
Instant gratification.
out. Instant gratification, and that's never what it's going to look like, but it will happen, period. And I love the knowing that if I do this now, 1 year from now, I'm going to be sitting in a completely different position, and that excites me. Like, what's going to come around the next turn? As far as the actual strategies of doing each little thing, I think I love my favorite. I feel like my favorite thing is meeting new people. But I love what's happened over the last year. I feel like even with our friendship, like as you start growing, you start colliding with people that are, it's just weird. You like are like, yeah, we're doing the same
energy.
Yes, and you have that connection, and it's just like it comes from out of left field. And so my girlfriends and I now are just like constantly like pushing each other to be better, and it feels so good to have that support from people who are just like, they wake up in the morning and they're like, no, I'm going to go get today. I'm going to make the most of this day. And so I think it's a combination of things. Freedom, making the most of each day, the adventure of it, being in charge of my own future, really.
I love the how you say that, like, where I heard everything, but what I loved is when you said, when you start doing all these different things and you start climbing here, you start colliding with those people. And the main thing that people forget in life is that you are your environment, right? So
no, for sure.
And I don't mean this in a bad way. Like, life hits you. You might be here one day and you need someone here to help you get out of here.
Yeah.
But if you stay here, you're going to stay here.
Yeah.
If you stay here, you're going to stay here.
Yeah.
If you want to get here, you're going to have to keep climbing. And that's the biggest thing, is like surrounding yourself with people that are as driven as you.
Yes.
Because in that point, I made a quote like 5 years ago. One of my best friends loves quoting it. Every little cheers thing he does. It's surround yourself with people as driven as you, and success is inevitable.
Yeah.
Because if people are as driven as you, in my opinion, if I level up, it's not that I'm mad that you leveled up. I'm going to level up.
Yeah.
Or he's going to level up.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to level up. And it never stops. And
Yeah.
it's not a competition that beats you down.
Yeah.
It's a competition that lifts you up.
Yeah.
And so surrounding yourself with those type of people, I think, is one of the most important things. That's why I'm grateful in my pursuit of what I'm doing right now. I've been traveling the world doing YouTube, and I was a high school teacher. For anybody that this is your first time watching a video, my story is I went to college, played football. What did I do after that? I became a teacher. Then I became a personal trainer. I did that on the side. Then became a YouTuber, traveled the world. Now I'm back and I'm doing construction. So we have that same little squirrel. Like, I found another nut and I'm running and I'm running.
Yeah.
But now I'm surrounded by my family, which is into construction and real estate and doing all these cool things. And we're just diving into this whole world of me learning. And I get taught from people that have done it.
But I think it's funny how you just even summarized that story, because I think what people, like we talked about just a hair, is people believe that it's like, I went to college, I played football, I started teaching, and then I left teaching. But there were so many moments in that journey that I watched you go through that you were like, kind of, is this the right choice? Right. And then you had those people, the ones that are a little bit right here above you, and they're like just pulling you up like, yes. And then it just elevates you to the next level, because something had to help you make those decisions. Those are big decisions.
Right.
That's a lot of big decisions.
The way you said that, it definitely put that into perspective, because I don't think about it like that, because it's already happened. Yeah. But definitely in those moments, like, I remember telling the principal, like, hey, I'm resigning. This is my 2 weeks.
And that was a hard conversation.
Correct. It's like, holy crap, like, here's my letter of resignation. And then I was like, hey, I'm going to go travel to 13 countries in a year and a half. And like, I remember getting those butterfly feelings. I even tell my brother this all the time. Every time I had to board another airplane or actually purchase the ticket to the next country, because I went to Asia. Like, I wasn't 2 hours from home flying from Kentucky to South Carolina. Like, I was flying from Hawaii to Indonesia to the Philippines and Thailand and India. And I would get these feelings of like, oh, like, am I really doing this? I slept in places where I would never tell someone to sleep, like the slums of the slums of the slums. But through all of that, I learned that all you have to do is just go. Like, those feelings you feel, but you just got to go, because I tell my brother all the time, the only time you'll know if it's the right decision is if you actually make it. Right. Because then you can reflect. Like, you're sitting here and you're like, those weren't easy decisions in the meantime.
And there were probably some wrong decisions even in that mix of decisions. Correct. And we get so caught up on making the right one. Is this the right one? Is this the right one? And then that perfect inaction happens. Correct. Like, we end up not doing anything because we're so worried. Like, if I make that next move, is it going to be the right move or the wrong move? And then we end up not doing anything. Correct. And we'll never know the answer. And in my journey, I know I can look back and think of big wrong decisions that I made. And all of that, like, it just shapes,
you learn. It hurts.
It elevates you in the long term, because you can look back and think, I did that then. That was a rough 2 months. And then you just like circle back, I will not be doing that again. And you kind of have a different perspective going in. Even, I know we talk about that all the time, but like, mistakes are not the worst thing that can happen.
But what's so interesting to me about making those mistakes is, we may call it a mistake, but like, I believe in God. If you're watching this, you believe in God. It's a lesson. Yeah. You know, I talk about things in life being a lesson or a blessing. And at the end of the day, even if it turned out to be so hurtful to you for the 5 years that you went through it, it was still a blessing because it saved you from what could have been the next 40.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And it taught you what not to allow in the next relationship, business relationship, endeavor, whatever it is that you're doing. So whatever you're doing, you know, if you turn into that terrible person for 5 or 6 months making decisions, and people do it all the time, you know, they get into business, they make a bunch of money, then they just get, I call it getting lost in the sauce. Like that happens to people, but if it saves you from a lifetime of being a mean person, being terrible, just a hateful human on this earth, which I don't think anybody should be. Like, there's 8 billion people, so imagine if everybody was hateful. That would be terrible. But it teaches us so much about life, and I've gone through things, I have done things that someone could sit there and say, man, he's just a terrible human being, and I apologize. But all I can do is move forward and fix and try and go further, because if we sit and dwell on that past and we don't take those opportunities, you may have never met somebody that shaped you into saying, look, I have the confidence to do Beauty Counter and be on a team of 300 powerful, empowered women.
Right.
Like, how are you supposed to lead without trying to lead? How are you supposed to teach someone without actually teaching? You cannot.
No, you can't.
So that's what I love about your story, is that even though those things are hard decisions to make, and you just opened my eyes to that perspective. I never think about it like, whoa, he's making crazy decisions. And someone actually commented on an Instagram post and said that I'm a gypsy soul. She was, and I read that and I was like, I guess I kind of am. Like, I just flow. Yeah. And I'm like, this one, I'll try. This one, I'll try. This one, I'll try. And as long as you keep your morals, your standards, your little, what do people call that compass? Your moral compass. Yeah. There you go. You keep that moral compass to that heart as much as you can. I think that it helps propel you and project you on a path that finds a waterfall, that finds another waterfall. And as you're going around those curves, you're going to run into a bear. You're going to run into a dog. You're going to pick up a stick. You're going to have to get back. But then there's the waterfall, and it was all so worth it.
But if you turn around the first time that you run into that bear, the first time you run into a snake, and you're like, oh, no, this wasn't worth it. I haven't even seen anything fun yet. I'm just going to turn around and go back to my car. If you make that choice right then, you just never know what is around that next bend.
So true. And most people
run back to the car.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
and I did that for a lot of my life.
I've done it.
Yeah. I would be like freaked out. I'm like, okay, this is the wrong path. And then I'm turn around and run back. And then we get used to not making those actions. We get into the habit of, as soon as something feels scary, we retreat. And so the fun thing, the cool thing is once you pass over that thing that you're so scared of, and you realize, hey, that actually wasn't that scary. That really didn't, that wasn't that bad. I just kind of like ran past the snake and then now I'm on to the next thing. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. And as soon as you make enough of those, like you just said, now you just flow here, flow there, flow there. But I know how it feels in those first, like when I quit my job just to pursue photography, and I was like, okay, when I graduate college, I think I'm just going to keep doing this. And I remember I told my parents that, and they were just like, what? I told my family, they were like, huh? I remember literally getting made fun of for doing, I heard from a friend of a friend that I was being made fun of for pursuing photography, and I just remember thinking, all of those moments, those were really hard. That was the snake, that was the bear, that was like, my confidence has to I don't know, maybe overseed, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I have to be more confident
I get what you're saying. Than that
situation or that insult, because I know where I'm going. And when you're on your way there, people are like, what in the heck is she doing?
Correct.
What in the heck is he doing? Okay, good luck.
Right.
Because they're the ones that ran back to the car, so they're watching you from the car, and you're on your little journey around, and people are right there ready to try to tear you down. Like, do you see that snake? You're about to get bitten. And the whole time you're just like, okay, I know where I'm going. I know that there's something cool coming on the other side of this. I've tried to map it out the best I can, so.
And I'll even put that into a little analogy that came to me while you're talking about it. I look at it as comfortability. When you see the snake or the bear, I'll be terrified. I jumped out of an airplane, and I was terrified of heights. And your comfort tells you to go back to your place of comfort, that your little whatever that is, I don't know what it is, but something in there tells you, hey, there's a more comfortable place at your house. Why don't you just go sit down? You don't have to do this. But when I jumped, like on the way up, the guy I was the last one on the plane. I didn't know that meant I was going to be the first one off. I was so confused that whole day. I was so nervous. And he's like, you want to put your leg out? And I'm like, sure, I'm videoing this, so I'll look cool. And I had to like fake it till I make it in that moment.
Yeah.
And I believe in that. Like, not for the long run, but there's times where I have to fake it till I make it. And that was one of those moments.
No, for sure.
And when he said, when I put my leg out and I tell you to put yours out, you're going to feel me push you forward and you're falling. And as soon as I started falling, I felt like I swallowed a gallon of water. It was a gulp of air. But I felt like water was like choking me. And then after a second, literally, like not even joking, one freaking second, I was like, this is crazy. Yeah. And I wasn't scared. It didn't feel like what it felt like.
Fast. When you're in that airplane, that's the coolest thing about skydiving. I love that. Because when you're going skydiving, you're going you're in the airplane, you're already going so fast. So when you jump out, you almost feel like you're being caught.
Yeah, in a car. It's like a seatbelt just holding you. Yeah. And I was like, wait, this doesn't feel like a roller coaster. This is pretty cool. Yeah. And the biggest point I'm making here is, think about a child. When they scratch themselves or they fall, they run to who? Mommy or daddy, right? Yeah. That's their comfort zone. Yeah. And that's what we do growing up. Like, it's like, oh, new opportunity, I'm okay at my job. But you'll go complain for hours and do the things that don't make you happy. Yeah. And I actually put a thing out on my Instagram, and I want to read it. I don't want to misquote myself. I put a little caption on a picture because I just have been thinking about this. People always ask me, what do you do? And it's such a hard, like that's a loaded question.
Yeah, it is.
I'm like, I do what I want. Not in like an arrogant way. It's just like, I do what I want. And I put in there that life isn't about sitting around, not working, taking 5 naps a day, or thinking nobody can tell you what to do. Life is about having the freedom to actually do what your heart desires. And that's business, that's leisure, that's skydiving, that's photography, that's beauty counter, that's YouTubing. Yeah. Us making this podcast video, because it's going to help I tell people, reach one person. Right. And as hard as that sounds, especially in our instant gratification world, I get it. You're like, no, I need 100,000 to watch. Right. But that one person might change their entire life cycle, and it changes their entire family's life because they heard your message. They were like, wow, Kristen Cooper can do it. This is crazy. I can do it. She made me believe in myself.
And you can 100%.
You know what I'm saying? But we can talk about this all day long. I would like for you to, the viewers, whoever watched this video, what's the best piece of advice? The best, how can they overcome? Like, give me a sentence or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. When they run into this challenge, how do they move forward? How can they summarize it?
I think no matter what background that you come from, I think no matter what your support system at home looks like, no matter what you have grown up in or grown out of, whenever you're sitting there, I know not everybody has that. There's different kinds of motivation. You are somebody who can kind of just like boom, 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 boom. I know for me, I had to really get serious about my mental health. So my advice would be, get serious about your mental health. And your mind is inside of your body. So take care of your body. Take care of your brain. In order to take care of your brain, you've got to take care of your body too. Make that a priority, and you will watch things begin to show up. When kind of what we were talking about, you're going to start paying attention to opportunities, and they will start coming more your way because your eyes are going to be open to them. They might be there now, but you might not have the motivation, like he said, to even get off your couch. So challenge being, I know the biggest thing that for me that helped me kind of elevate to do things that like I never would be doing would be my mental health. And that's why it's such an emphasis in my everything that I do whenever I'm mentoring, whenever I'm talking about business, because you're only as good as what's going on up here. And that's for that's for anybody that even has like, I know that it's hard and you're like, okay, but you know, I'm dealing with this, but you don't know what I'm going through. Right. And like, nobody knows what you're going through but you. And you can live in that for as long as you want. You can live in that until the last breath you take. Literally. You don't know what's been done to me, and like, I don't, and only you know, but I do know that you are in control of your destiny, your future. Only you are. So when you start taking care of your brain, you have the opportunity to start taking control of your life. And so that would be my biggest
mental health, which I completely agree with. especially during what's going on in the world.
Yes.
With people having to quarantine and wear masks and do this, it just shifted people's life. Some people got good out of it. Some people crashed. And mental health, mental clarity, emotional clarity, spiritual clarity, if you're into that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It matters. Physical clarity, all that stuff matters. You know, if you're... this is a hard thing to say because some people's rooms are messy and their lives are great, but for the gist, for probably 90% of people, if your life is messy, everything else is going to be... if your house is messy, your life's probably going to be messy. If your car's always messy, if your room's always messy, if things are just cluttered, that's probably what's going on in here. That's probably what's going on in here. So I try to tell people, make that bed. You know, make that bed in the morning. If that doesn't work for you, do something else that gives you that win. It doesn't have to be cleanliness, but that is something that's big to me. So that's why I harp on it. If it's not cleanliness for you, it's, you know, drinking a glass of water that morning. Yeah. It's doing that little thing in the morning to tell yourself, wow, I just won. Right. Instead of starting the day with, dang it, I have to go to work. No, you get to. Someone didn't get to go to work. Right. You get to go to work. You get to go make the paycheck. You get to pursue your dream or whatever it is. And so I appreciate you on that because you have done an awesome job. You've killed it.
Thank you.
This video has been in the making for months and months and years, right? Because you started this 12 years ago. Yeah. And we're just now shooting the video. So that goes to show you guys, I couldn't have shot this video 12 years ago and had this super awesome story.
Even a year and a half ago.
Even a year and a half ago. Yeah. For me, too. Yeah. I wasn't shooting videos 2 years ago. Right. And now we're sitting here doing a podcast where I'm travel YouTubing and doing all this crazy stuff. So thank you so much. She probably still doesn't like me, to be honest. Okay. Even though we're doing it. She's just using me for the video. Oh, yeah. I'm just joking. But congrats on everything. I can't wait to see what else comes out of whatever it is. It could be your beauty counter photography, or who knows what. Literally, like in 2 months, you never know. That random opportunity that just found Kristen because she doesn't work for it is going to pop up because she's been grinding the entire time. And it's going to be there. I feel it, she feels it, and what's coming to me is coming to me. And I'm going to keep grinding on the way. But Kristen, thank you so much. Y'all, if you enjoyed the video, please make sure you give it a huge thumbs up. Make sure you follow her on Instagram, and her username is?
Kristen L. Cooper.
Kristen L. Cooper. I'll also put it right there. Make sure you go follow her. She's super awesome. She motivates. She'll get you going. Women, you need to go follow her. Men, she motivates me too. So go check her out. If you haven't yet, check out shopbacktolife.com. Grab you some merch, support the movement. And without further ado, this is the end of the Back to Life podcast with a boss bleep woman. We done?
Yeah, we're done.
Peace out.
Bye.